Thank you. That was a very nice introduction. I'm Kira Carrillo Corser, and Compassionate California presents the Compassionate Arts in Action, which is a partnership with the Post for Peace and Justice. As you see the posts around this room, I encourage you to look at them closely because they are collaborations between with people between 10 and 100 people sometimes. So the Post for Peace and Justice started actually 3 years ago at a conference like this, a visionary conference, where I met Faye Love, and I met Lisa Parsons, who's from Atlanta, and she's our other partner, and she works with 1 Billion Rising. And so we started in Los Angeles, and then we went to Atlanta, Monterey, San Diego. We've been in 5 states with over 3,000 people participating. There are now 97 posts. If you figure the posts take between 40 to 100 hours each, usually to finish them, because they each have a lead artist or more than one lead artist on them, that makes the quality stand up and encourages youth to make it better. So on those posts, you'll notice there are 3 big elements: facts, stories, and art. So the facts on the art are, they impact lives, as you all know. And so some of the groups we've worked with are like refugee kids, African American youth, which Faye's going to talk a little bit more about, compassionate cops, environmental. We actually have a series on environmental art, migrant, excuse me. Whoops. Sorry, I have a cold.
She has a cold. So we work with refugee kids, African American youth, compassionate cops, environmentalists, immigrants, healthcare workers, and so on. You can see the list. This story, though, because this is such a moving story about the Post for Peace and Justice and the stories that are created, that I would love for Kira to continue on with this moment, because this is such a moving story about this young lady. Would you like to continue?
The water will help. Sorry. When we talk about impact with art, this is a story about, I was working with refugee children from 8 countries, and Marion was from Sudan. And the teachers told me that she would come to school, she wouldn't talk to anybody, she was sad, she was sullen. And we gave her the top of the post, and we talked about hope, what hope means. And she changed, dramatically changed, and the teachers were all noticed it.
So our art effects, and what our art we have is the posts are done on blogs and an exhibit around the room, such as we see in areas like this. We have partnered with the National Center for Civil and Human Rights, the Atlanta City Hall, Monterey, Santa Rosa, San Diego, Celebrity Center in Los Angeles, and conferences on human trafficking, and now 2020 Vision. Compassionate Arts in Action, again, is a partnership, and we really want to partner with more visual artists, performance artists. Hey, Mr. Philharmonic, join the team. Artists, schools, communities, and civic engagements. We like to show on public sites because we want to keep the message out there, keep it alive. This only works if the message continues to get out there.
And we call them posts instead of polls because we post online as much as we have the physical posts, so that the stories, the videos, and the photographs and the stories get out further.
So we asked the youth what was important to them, and this is what they answered. Ending hunger, ending poverty, peace, and justice is important. And it's interesting because these are refugees, so these are things that they can identify with. And you can see those images on some of the posts out here.
2 of the posts here are made by the refugee children on the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, ending hunger, ending poverty.
We've shown in places like Washington, D.C. The message continues to get out there.
It's on the Capitol Hill and then on the National Mall.
We worked with groups such as interfaith coalitions and indigenous rights groups. And one of the key themes is working with the planet. We do a lot of work with planet and climate change.
We have a whole series, because my previous exhibit and project is seechanges.org, which is on climate. So there's a whole body of work and a whole group of people that have come into the Post for Peace and Justice. So you see how we've talked about it, how things all connect here, I heard today often. And that's the same thing that Faye and I are learning.
DACA. A lot of topics now are working with DACA, so we keep it current and relevant. And that's what's also important about the work that we're doing, is always current and relevant to the communities.
So the DACA the Dreamers, they're high school students where I live, near San Diego. They worked with the college students at Cal State San Marcos, which was really interesting because those students are going to become teachers. So they're educating the teachers, right? And then we had candidate teachers from Tijuana, from Mexico, come too. And so they all work together. So it was really a fabulous way because you get to research, they have to research to be on the Post. And then they get to talk about it, and then they get to educate others about what they're feeling.
So I'm gonna ask you right now, if you have a cause in your heart, please stand. If you have a cause in your heart, please stand. It says, if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. What do you stand for right now? Anyone want to shout out anything they're standing for?
Peace.
I can't hear. Shout it out if you mean it.
Peace.
Animals.
And if you're not able, I understand. But if you're not standing, I also understand. That was an image that one of the students at our youth summit created for our post. This is the voice. They understand. You may have a seat now. It's time to take compassionate action. People are dying. I don't even go through the names, but selling cigarettes, you get choked to death. Broken headlights, you get shot dead. Selling CDs, you get shot dead. Sandra Bland, Trayvon Martin, Michael Brown, they know this part of the story. People are dying. It's time to take compassionate action on both sides. People are dying. The backstory. So I'll give you a little backstory about me. I became very ill and diagnosed with an autoimmune transverse myelitis, which is inflammation of the spine. It caused me to be paralyzed from the waist below for 6 months. In my hospital bed, my perspective changed, okay? I became a lot more compassionate. And I was witnessing the devastation and turmoil in this world. I'm like, what are these people fighting for? At least they got legs and can walk, you know? And I made a conscious deal. We started making deals with God when you're in the hospital bed. I was like, God, if I can stand and walk out of here, I will stand for something greater and bigger than myself. I will stand for love and compassion. And that's what you see me doing here, standing right now, standing for love and compassion. God started talking to you in the hospital bed, right? So I made my deal. I say compassion is love in action. And so one day I had this vision that I, along with the youth, because y'all got to help me on this, can lead the charge to bring all together in solidarity of Black lives. But I knew I couldn't do it alone. And I have a team. I've been working with Compassion in California. So I went to my team. I said, look, I got this idea, this vision. You know, you start having visions. I got this vision. Can y'all help me? We have youth. They're vocal. People listen to kids. You don't listen to nobody else. You listen to kids. Kids actually run the house, right? Anybody that's parents, you know who's running the house really, and it's the kids. So I was like, we do this youth summit, and the kids would talk to the adults, but the adults would think they're mentoring these kids. So our objective was to work collaboratively with local faith leaders, community leaders, law enforcement, activists to grow civil rights understanding and to promote positive change in art that matters. Now I was like, now how am I gonna do that? I got a good friend over here, Kira, down in San Diego doing some wonderful work. So I went down to San Diego and I got my friend and said, Kira, let's go do this thing and promote some art that matters, which you've already been doing for 25 plus years. So let's keep it going up here and do this youth summit. Over here you see pictured talking, it's law enforcement. That's the city council member, Nason, advocate of Black Lives Matter, and an actor, because you know actors get away with communicating, get things out there. People listen to those. We're talking. That's the first part of the vision, is to get it to talk. The second is to promote examples of compassionate visual conversations. What you see here is a visual conversation, a balanced conversation on both sides, with impactful artistic representation that inspires what? Compassionate action. It's no good if you're just sitting around. We need some action behind it, right? Power to the people.
Yeah.
Objective number 3 was sustainability. We didn't want it to stop there. We're training artists, we're training facilitators, we're training mentors to continue. My good friend Adonia, she works with her center, and so we trained her, and now she's working with these youth. She's going out and she's exhibiting. And so it keeps going on and on. The message continues. And the results, what you see right there, artists, Los Angeles police, faith leaders, policymakers, and advocates of Black Lives Matter, what? Standing together in solidarity. Woo! Did we make it happen? We made history that day. So our Compassionate Action Youth Summit, we talked, we had different themes. We had to break it down, because how do we get sustainability in our community? We had to look about having a compassionate California. What does that mean? You can look at that post over there. I can talk to you about that. Prison's not school. We need to start educating our youth, not incarcerating our youth, right? We got to educate. So that was one of the topics, and their voices on there too. That was what you saw when you entered. That was that conversation on that post out there. Growing up multiracial. We had so much to talk about, and that, I'll follow up with that post. Women Say Her Name, we wanted to include the women's and the civil rights movement, and also we hear about the men dying, but there was women that were lost on the casualties too, so we wanted to include that. Compassionate Cops, take a look at that. That's the cops talking about what it felt like in this war. They said they felt alone, but the youth said, well, let me tell you, if you tried a little bit of compassion, they gave it a list, so that was a balanced conversation there. The youth are our future. We're building a future for our youth for sustainability. We have to continue to talk with policymakers. The mayor of Artesian, is Ali Sarai Taj, and 2 candidates for governor, Delane Easton and Antonio Vegarosa, former mayor of Los Angeles, said, put me in the conversation. I want to be there. When is the next youth summit? Yes, we're talking about Black. Then the cops take these posts out into the city. These posts they created about Black Lives Matter, and the youth and the city, they're now promoting Black Lives Matter from the LAPD. We did this. The message continues. Your voice was on those posts. The youth voice is on that post to carry the message. And then we did something up here. At Capital Region, we was invited. And 50 community members came and contributed to that post over there, Interdependence Day. And that's that post there. And Anita Ross, we were talking to our activist Anita Ross. She's on that post too. She contributed. And then that multiracial conversation, growing up multiracial, this was so moving. When they saw that, their hearts got emotional because she had just had a conversation at school talking about being Black and Jewish. And the teacher shut her down, said, you can't talk about that. It makes others feel uncomfortable. She came to us and said, you know what it looks like? We're gonna have to do a workshop at your school, girl. So we're working on that. So the next steps is to continue inspiring compassionate youth leadership, partner with more organizations, activists, law enforcement, faith, and community leaders. That's what we want to do. And we started a team right now. They're designing their own youth summit this year, October 14th and 15th in Santa Monica, in solidarity of immigrant and Black lives, okay? They teaching me something, you know? And we're going to keep it moving. They're designing it right now. That's us right there. and they taught me about, y'all know who YG and Nipsey Hussle is? I didn't, but I'm learning. Okay, so yeah, that's a big joke because I had to get educated. Two of the biggest rappers currently on the scene, YG and Nipsey Hussle. YG is from the Bloods, Nipsey Hussle is from the Crips. They actually created a song in solidarity of Black lives and immigrant lives in 2016. And at the video shoot, current affiliates from the Bloods and the Crips came together. No arrests, no violent crimes was reported. It was a peaceful day of compassion. Who's doing this? So this is my team, right here. You see us up here, but there's a whole team put together. And if you're present, I call your name, roll call. Kira's right here. Joanne Gans couldn't make it. We got our youth ambassador, Marissa O'Connor right there. We got Laura O'Connor in the house right there. We got Carla. Come on, stand up, represent. Jennifer, she couldn't make it. We got you ambassador. Valerie, this is a team. You keep them moving. And guess what? You can be part of the team too. Are you ready to vision and partner with us to create a California that works for all? Are you ready? All right then. Then in the spirit of community and compassion, come talk to us. We've been at that table over there. Compassion California, Pulse for Peace and Justice. Come on, let's unite and do this. Love you guys. Thank you for your time.
You can find us,
I just said it.
the website.
Oh, the website.
You can find us at www.postforpeaceandjustice.org and compassionatecalifornia.org.